Well, good morning everybody and welcome to day 2 of the Australian Rugby Shield. We've got action from Pool A in the women's competition. James Coughlin behind the microphone as Queensland Country will take on Queensland Suburban. And we've actually kicked off a couple of minutes early here at Ballymore as Queensland Country going from left to right on your screen in the blue. Queensland Suburban, the blue and maroon, who have just earned the penalty. Which will be taken by Jess Craig, the number 9. And they have opted for the scrum. As we move into day 2, a little bit cloudy, and from southeast Queensland, we did have some storms rolling through last night, which will make it a little bit heavy underfoot. We'll see both of these teams coming off first up defeats. The Orchids, the Country Orchids, lost 10-12 to Victoria. Queensland Suburban, 44 to the high-powered Perth Gold, and the Orchids scrum is strong as Suburban's able to get the ball out. Almost a little bit of miscommunication. And there was miscommunication as that pass to Saxon Campbell is deemed to have gone forward. Reset with this second scrum. Down in the 21 jersey, Kayla Jackson of Roma Rugby Union. She was one of the try scorers on day 1, back on Wednesday. Wheeling and just getting away. The back was whipped, step put on. Haig. Fly half roll. Go by Dompon. Once more getting it over for Jackson, and she spilled it, and we'll come back for the scrum. It's a little bit scrappy as these teams find their footing, just working their way into the game. Pierce at the back of the scrum, number 8. She's the other try scorer for the Orchids. On day 1, the Suburban throw-in. Have to make sure we keep differentiating. We can't call them both Queensland. This pass is allowed to bounce, and it winds up back in the hands of the Countryside. And on by Pierce as they go out wide, just shy of the 22, brought down. Regan Beardmore from St George. At the back by Pierce, she's working short side, getting the pass away. Continuing to work far side of the pitch, Ellie May. Brought down, Pierce just yanking a teammate out of the way as Dufield will go for a run. Inching forward, pinched in the ruck, but illegally so. Penalty for the Orchids. Quick tap taken by Whip, and she'll go for the try line herself. She's over. First try, Elena Whip. And a belated birthday present. She just turned 19 yesterday, and she gets the first try of the game. Queensland Country striking first, less than 5 minutes in. work off the penalty. Quick thinking by the scrum half. Elena Whip out of the Frenchville Pioneers in Rockhampton. And the conversion successful, extending the country leads to 7-0. Beardmore with the successful attempt. Score now, Queensland Country 7, Queensland Suburban 0. That's pretty much all the action has been down the right side of your screen. Have a chance to roll it down into the country half with that kickoff by Michelle Milden. And going straight through the ruck, Saxon Campbell, of former Wallaroo and Reds player. Go to the replay off the kick for touch. There was the infringement. Just on the Suburban side of halfway. With the Orchids setting themselves up. We do have a brief stoppage at the moment, as just waiting for clarification from our referee. As the Orchids will be arriving late. Donpon makes her way to the back. Now we just wait for the rest of the blue jerseys to arrive. Taken by Jackson. She'll pass it back, but it will be a turnover at the line out. So Queensland Suburban catching a bit of a break. Replaying, yeah, that one definitely wasn't straight. A little bit of an angle, which is how we've landed at this scrum. Suburban, it's a bit of a hybrid side. They've got 4 players from the Northern Territory in their squad, and they've come together in the last 5 weeks, but they're not going to be able to mount much from that attack. Another penalty for Queensland Country. Chance for them to go in the attack once again. Beardmore searching for touch, and she finds it. Just over 30 metres from the try line. Another line out coming. And a little bit of miscommunication, and Izzy Tier spent a long time in the air, but she was able to bring that one down, as here goes the Orchids looking to attack down the right side. Shannon Bean, she's brought down in a tackle. It was Hickman there, and a penalty for Queensland Suburban. They're able to alleviate the pressure. About 10 metres gained, if that, off the penalty, as it goes into the stand just underneath our filming spot here at Ballymore, the home of rugby. Waiting for the ball to be returned. Fitzgibbon just issuing some instructions to the youngster, Ella Duncan. 16 years old from Wests here in Brisbane. Third generation Wests player. And her line out is spot on, and here goes Queensland with the pass a little bit behind, but was still able to be gathered and taken into the tackle. Suburban under plenty of pressure at the ruck. And Mylau is driving them back, and they've got the turnover, the Orchids now. Fidow taking 3 players to bring her down, and then there was still a struggle. And the Orchids working down the left through Donpon. But the ball was spilled, and it's back in the hands of Suburban, and Pinar was flattened in back play, legally so, and it's a penalty now for the Orchids right in front. Quick tap taken now by Hake, and she'll look to lay the pass on, and with the overlap on the right side of the field, Shannon Bean scores the second try for Queensland Country. And again, another try off the penalty, off the quick tap. Quick thinking by Nella Hake, and out wide it goes for Bean, and Queensland Suburban just unable to get the numbers across in time, despite the cover attempts of Milden. As the crowds have come into Brisbane, which might provide some relief for the players, not being under the searing September sun. As Regan Beardmore will attempt her second conversion of the day. Quite the desirable angle for the right footer. And didn't get clean contact on that one, Beardmore, so that is going to fall short. Score remains 12-0 in favour of the Queensland Country Orchids over Queensland Suburban. Queensland Suburban will make their way up for another kickoff. This kickoff is struck by Layla Wood, the 19-year-old, and it almost rolled over the sideline before it's picked up, and it was a barnstorming run on that far sideline. Queensland Country on the attack again, a solid collision just shy of the halfway line. And almost able to get the interception was Thompson, but that's opened up some space now for the Orchids, and they've got a break on down the right side once again. Jenkins, out it goes. Here's Bean. Will she look to go for the try line herself? She'll put a step on, go for the corner, and he's just taken into touch. Fantastic covering tackle. It's Darcy Milful coming across. And that was one that had to be made. Otherwise, Queensland Country, they could have put this game away inside a quarter of an hour. And a late pass by Kayla Jackson, getting it out to her winger, Bean. She thought, 5 players in front of me, doesn't matter, I'll have a go myself. And I'll tell you what, she went very, very close. And the decision is in fact going to be a scrum. It would have been an either-or option. Would have been a line out or a scrum, and Queensland Suburban will opt to take the scrum. Very narrow setup for Queensland Suburban behind the scrum. And that is England will have a reset. Like a couple of potentially awkward landings, but that means we might have a stoppage now as one of the Orchids players is just down, checking on the ankle. It's the hooker Mailau, 29-year-old out of Caboolture. As mentioned before, we did have quite a bit of rain yesterday, and ground staff have done well to get the pitch playable after all the rain. It is still going to be a little bit slippery. And again, a very narrow setup for Queensland Suburban. 4 players right behind the scrum. This Country getting a push on, and that one had to come out quickly. Craig just getting the pass away, but that kick only finds Bean, and the options could be on. Kick across from Spratt, looking for the far corner. It's corkscrewing away from the onrushing Beardmore, who I believe was the target, and it's going to go over the dead ball line. Chance now for Queensland Suburban to reset. They have been under the pump thus far. And we may have a stoppage because one of the Queensland players was down in the in-goal area, but she's back on her feet as the trainer makes her way on. Beautiful, just instructed to head out to the wing. She's pretty much on her own on that right side, which would suggest that Queensland Suburban, they're going to look to go left. Whoop. Milford is now making her way over, and that is a wide open short side, and it's unlikely if Queensland Country can get the tight head, which they're pushing for now. They've got a wide open blind side, but the forwards got off the back of the scrum quickly, and Milford makes her way over for the tackle, but that's just opened up space in the middle. It's Kayla Jackson looking for try number 2 of the tournament, picked up at the back by Izzy Tier. Did she get over? Waiting for the referee signal. She did. Izzy Tier is over for try number 3 for Queensland Country, and they are running away with this one early. And just too much power from the Canadian Izzy Tier. We'll just move to Australia this year. The 19-year-old has made her mark on this game. Some of the other action we've got coming away later today for the Australian Rugby Shield. Right after this, Beth Newman will be bringing you the New South Wales Country Corellas versus the ACT and New South Wales Kestrels. That's at midday. And I'll be back with you for Victoria versus Perth Gold from Pool A. Beardmore just taking her time with the conversion attempt. Kerry Langman will be wrapping up the women's action at 3 p.m. South Australia against the ADF. Beardmore makes no mistake, 2 for 3 with the boot. And the score is now out to 19-0 in favour of Queensland Country.
Queensland Country extend their lead. It's currently 19 points to 0.
It has been a profitable morning thus far for Queensland Country. 3 try scorers, 2 conversions. And scoring at just under a point per minute so far. Hickman with the kickoff this time, straight off the chest of Tia. Well, she scored the try and then just couldn't bring that kickoff under control. We'll go to the replay. Hickman got a bit of air under that one and just taken her eyes off that one. Tia. Chance now for Queensland Suburban. Can they find a way just onto the scoreboard, but potentially back into this game? A reset. Packed down, 22 minutes played here at Ballymore. Short arm penalty, so that will be another chance for Queensland Country as Queensland Suburban will be forced back onto the defensive. To be honest, can't think of too many extended possessions for Queensland Suburban, and it's not the recipe for winning rugby. You need the ball in your hands. Ball will bounce. It's spilled by Milden, and she's tackled. Jenkins, and another penalty going the way of Queensland Country. They'll take the quick tap. That's been a winning strategy for them so far. Don Pond will take the run. It's going to roll out of Roma. Turnover though for Queensland Suburban. Crunching tackle by Fidel. Kick by Craig as it's up just shy of halfway. Spilled by Spratt. And the offside penalty now for Queensland Suburban, and they'll have another chance here if they can hold on to the ball. They'll in good position to try and get something back. So potentially take this opportunity for the breather. Not even, it is rather muggy. If you're watching from elsewhere in Australia, or possibly around the world. Either way, however you're tuning in, very pleased to have your company. It will be a scrum for Queensland Suburban. We've got a replacement prop packing down. It's Tracy Thielander. First year in rugby union, the 33-year-old. A couple of changes are now coming on as well. Charlene Magafa Malu also joining the fray in number 3. Our best to stay on top of the substitutions as they happen. A couple of experienced heads coming on. Thielander and Magafa Malu. Scrum is getting walked back again, but not by as much as before, and it was all a little bit messy, and it's going to be a penalty for Queensland Suburban. And we won't go to the replay. We'll stick with the live action. We've got quick tap taken by Queensland Suburban. And out of the defensive line very quickly was Nella Haken. Another penalty advantage for Queensland Suburban. They're starting to finally accumulate some possession, and the offloads going to plan, so we'll come back for the penalty advantage and a high tackle penalty for Queensland, and they're going to go for touch. Just a question being asked from Elena Whip. And finding touch just shy of the 22. Queensland Country making a change as well. Talia Ackland coming on in 24. Malawi Pola, another replacement front rower in 26. And that line out was spot on from Duncan. Freelander turns the ball over. Back it goes with Hannigan, and she's going for a run. Intercepted well by Maddie Pengelly. And after a knock on, another advantage, this time just for the scrum for Queensland Suburban. Almost half an hour gone. Gafa Malu will take the tackle. And back will come for the knock on. Craig. Head up to the referee. Just Craig herself. He's an accredited referee, so I'm sure she'll know all the nuances. Try and make a case. 10-year-old, also part of the Reds Development 15 at a Queensland netball rep. Again, taking a scrum. Penalty is on their right. And that scrum goes straight to ground, and a short arm penalty for Queensland Country, but immediately right now, I think there might be a little bit of concern shown for Thielander, but she's able to get back up and take her place. Quick tap now for the Orchids. And head of steam, that one by Fidow gets them up close to the halfway. Offload to the correct side of halfway, at least as far as they're concerned. Jenkins taking the tackle. Ackland grading as the scrum half. Mylau over halfway is Queensland Suburban, now looking to drive them back. Tackle made as continuing to work to the left. And they started the move, and the pass is now back inside. And almost held up in the tackle, just able to get to ground. Tia. Oh, no nonsense, fend off by Fidow. She gets it going. Step on by Jackson. She's going to go for the line herself. Kayla Jackson, she's in. Grounds the ball. And it is 4-0 for Queensland Country. Kayla Jackson getting her second of the tournament, first of the day. Jackson, despite the admirable efforts from Thompson to chase her down, just couldn't bring her back under control. So we're just waiting for the ball to be retrieved by Beardmore. She'll line up her Fourth conversion attempt of the day. The easiest kick Beardmore has had all day, but certainly not the toughest. Struck it well, just drifting off to the right. So 2 for 4 from the boot of Regan Beardmore. Campbell just making her way back onto the field. Queensland Suburban. Closing in now on the end of the first half. Queensland Suburban just looking for something to carry some momentum into half-time. The kickoff, it's going to land right in the middle of a number of Queensland country players, but it's gathered up by Tier, and he's not brought down at the first attempt. And that ball is spilled, turned over. Tamara Madzika who's made her way on, number 13, just off to the right of your screen. And the Darwin Dragons. And the Wood puts that all into the seats. And just shy of the 22, a chance now for Queensland Suburban. They've find a way to themselves back into this one. Just one try is where it will start. Chenzi Morris from Cairns Wanderers. Another introduction in this first half off the bench, as it has been pretty much one-way traffic thus far for Queensland country, and there will be no change in the direction of that traffic with the line out unable to be corralled. This is a learning experience for what is, in fairness, a very young Queensland Suburban side, as a kick just a little bit too much mustard on it. Goes out on the full throw in, I beg your pardon. The way of Queensland Suburban. Again, another rare piece of positive territory. Members of this Queensland Suburban squad are under 25. There's some prospects for the future, with some veteran mentorship sprinkled in, as one of those prospects, Michelle Milden. And another offside penalty now. Is discipline starting to become an issue for Queensland country? That was the issue first up. Some discussion now over what the decision will be. It might have been a warning now. And I believe Queensland Suburban have called for the tee. They're going to look for the 3 points. With the time now expired, that would appear to be an option just to get some points on the board heading into halftime. Discipline being an issue for Queensland Country. Chenzi Morris was sin-binned in the first game for repeated infringements. Back to the action at hand. Layla Wood. She struck it well and she raises a flag. So, something for Queensland Suburban to end the first half with on a high note. The score now is 24-3 in favour of Queensland Country. 4 tries to 0. However, they did get the last points of the first half. The sides will go back to their respective huddles. Get some instructions, and we'll be back with the second half right after this. again, everyone. It is time for the second half from the Australian Rugby Shield coming your way. Rugby Explorer, and right off the bat, it is a penalty for Queensland Suburban. Quick tap is taken by Saxon Campbell as they work their way into the 22. They have not spent a whole lot of time down this end of the field. Well, they did just when the teams were swapped around in the first half, but a great start to the second half for Queensland Suburban. A barnstorming run from Holler. She gets the offload away. Brought down. Queensland Suburban there started the second half with a fire in their bellies. And now for Malu. 16-year-old for Queensland Suburban. Her QPR debut this year at age 16. One of the bright young prospects for Queensland Rugby in this side. So here she goes again. Queensland Suburban looking to the power game early as Vagafa Malu. Put that tackle now back for Duncan. However, she wasn't releasing the ball, and that is going to be a pressure relieving penalty. Sarah Pearce involved as we'll go to the replay, is trying to make their way one out to the left, then back off to the right, and it was great work by Pearce, positioning herself to try and get that ball back. Tap in the shadow of their own goalposts from Queensland Country. They scored 4 tries in the first half, 2 of which were converted. Scorers were Helena Whip, Shannon Bean, Izzy Tier, and Kayla Jackson. Regan Beardmore with all 4 conversion attempts. And boy, don't Queensland Suburban look up for it now. They got off to a slow start, but they are very much up and about as they're looking to pile up the pressure on Queensland Country. Force the knock on. Plenty of power in this scrum as it comes out the back, and it's completely botched there as well. Picked up at the back by Ackland. However, Queensland Country struggling to clear it. They'll try to run it out. Another step by Nella Hake. She'll get the pass off. Ackland brought to ground by the ankles. And going straight through the middle, and illegally so was Campbell. 34-year-old, plenty of experience, just trying to get a little bit creative. And almost reaches the halfway line, barely a metre short. And that line out was not straight. It's signalled by the AR on the near side, just a little bit off target. And that was quite along the necessary line, which is going to give Queensland Suburban another scrum, and there's still a long way to go, so this game is far from over, especially if Queensland Suburban can score next, and especially so if that score is a converted try. And unable to be controlled at the back, but this time Suburban's able to get it away. Pengelly with the pass that takes a bounce. Knock-on advantage now for the Orchids, but they may not need it because breaking away down the right is Ackland as she's held just by the jersey. Fends off a couple of tackles, 3 tacklers, and a solo effort from Talia Ackland. Opens to scoring in the second half, very much against the run of play, it has to be said, but Queensland Country won't mind because look at this run. Talia Ackland able to just evade first tackle and escaped the attention of Hawkins and Wood. And I think the only complaint that Queensland Country can have about that try is it hasn't made Beardmore's life all that easy for the conversion, but again, that's very much a first world problem when you're up 29-3. Substitutions, or interchanges being made by Queensland Country, the Orchids. That conversion attempt had the direction, just not the power, so that will fall.
Queensland Country open the score in the second half. They lead the Suburban score 29 points, 3.
And the score remains, as you might have just heard over the PA system, 29-3. 7.5 minutes into the second half. James Coughlin bringing you all the action. It's the Rugby Australia channels. We're pleased to have your company on this Friday. It's still Friday morning, not quite Friday lunchtime yet. We'll have a slight delay in the kickoff because one of the Suburban players is still down. And I think that will be the end of the game for Queensland. Coming back on is Bridie Fitzgibbon. A deep kick-off. Country going on the attack, and they switch it over to their right. This has been their preferred side, and it's easy to see why, because there is so much space for Shannon Bean. She's going to stroll in for her second try of the game. Doesn't quite make it all the way under the posts, but that won't matter too much, because right from the kickoff, on its way out to the right wing, and Bean went a good 65, 70 metres on her own. Just too much pace. She falls over the line, and first try of the second half might have come from grit and determination. That was just pure acceleration from Shannon Bean, the 18-year-old. Frenchville Pioneers. Trio of interchanges made. That one was well struck, and it raises The assistants flags.
Great converted try there from the Orchids. They extend their lead.
Successful conversion for the Orchids as actually, well, that was Kayla Jackson who made that conversion, so not sure we give the credit where it was due. Jackson adding to personal points tally. That one is bounced, but Hake is there to claim it. Dummy thrown by Hannah Jenkins. Queensland Country have made up for their slow start to the second half. It's just a little bit too deep. Back we go. And I thought it was there, just not quite on the execution, as we'll come back as Wood saw the numbers advantage, was trying to pick it out for Taylor Delaforce. And a yellow card has been shown. I'm not entirely sure what for, to be completely honest, but a yellow card for Queensland Country. They're now down to 14. As Nella Hake was dismissed. The Orchids just happy to clear their line, although a whole lot of territory on that one. Taken at the front of the line out as it's pinched by the Orchids, and they'll look to try and clear their way, if not by air, then by foot. And they've got the numbers here, and they're off once again out of the 22, putting the step on, and they're almost able to break through this Arweg with the run, and they're still going. Jackson brought to ground. They've made 50 metres in only 30 seconds, and Weng was so close. Let's see if we can catch the back end of that run on the replay, and it was a necessary covering tackle by Delaforce, because I'm not sure many people would have been able to bring down Tasha Arweg. Confusion with the Suburban rotations. Okay. A few players made their way on as we're find out who is actually meant to be on. Sarah Pearce just needs some encouragement at the back of the scrum. Not a lot to complain about thus far for the Orchids. And with a little bit of confirmation from the near side assistant, we do have enough players on the field for Queensland Suburban. And that scrum continues to cause problems as the Orchids win another penalty. They'll take the tap from Hannigan to spread it out to the right, and here she goes again. Shannon Bean able to get all the way to the try line, brought down just outside the 22. As Donpum tackled. Steph Barnes going for a run, moving sideways but not forwards, and that is going to be a penalty for Queensland Suburban. Danny Martins is now filling the scrum half role in number 11. Another teenager, aged just 16, and another West's product. Scrum is holding, it's twisting, but was able to get out at the back, but plenty of pressure being applied by Hannigan, and penalty for the knockdown. See the scrum once more. It's cleverly worked by the Orchids. They weren't able to get the ball, as we'll actually just have to return you to live action. Quick tap taken. With that carry and another penalty advantage, and again the penalties just starting to stack up in favour of Queensland Suburban. Should be Queensland Northern Territory Suburban's. That box kick doesn't result in a whole lot of anything to the advantage of Suburban, or subbies as some might call them. So it will be back for the high tackle penalty, and I think there may be another warning coming for the Orchids, just for the penalties that are starting to stack up. And just a reminder, after this, kicking off at midday Australian Eastern Standard Time, Queensland time, Beth Newman bringing you the New South Wales Country Corellias against the ACT and Southern New South Wales Kestrels, right here on this same field at Ballymore. With women's Pool B action. And that one will roll over the sideline. A quarter of an hour to play. There's just a bit of communication now with pair of substitutions coming on for the Orchids. Simone Perry in 18, Caitlin Holmes in 17. Perry, the 37-year-old out of Colt Rugby Club in Rockhampton. Caitlin Holmes, 22-year-old out of Burdekin Rugby Club. As Holmes takes the line out. That one's on the mark. And from the line out have been bit of an issue, but to make that one work, as again the Orchids looking to attack down the right, but well and truly behind the advantage line was Holmes. Perry takes it over the halfway. It's definitely going to see fatigue setting in, but there's no real fatigue for Meg Jenkins as she gets a pass back off inside for Arweg. So go the Orchids once more, this time through the middle. Chenzi Morris. And that one was illegally stripped. Tuiano, so a penalty for Queensland Country, and they want another try as Perry will go for the line herself, look to burst through the middle. Ackland gets the pass away, and here they go, straight through and in for the try. Emma Hannigan, number 7 of the game. And that was oh so easy. She saw the gap, ran straight through it. And it was a justifiably tired attempt at the tackle. Another conversion attempt for Kayla Jackson. You may wonder why a flanker is taking the conversion attempts and the hits at goal. Well, I can answer that for you. Kayla Jackson has a history playing soccer, the soccer version of football, the world game. However, I'm told she switched to rugby because she was, quote-unquote, too rough and wanted to play a game where you could actually be rough, and it was encouraged. Well, I think it's safe to say she is finding her footing in the 15-a-side code. And that conversion was unsuccessful. And the score now to a 38-point margin. Another penalty now for the Orchids as one of the Suburban players is just a bit slow getting back into the line. Might have been Taylor Delaforce, but that is in no way, shape or form a definitive. Yes, well, actually it wasn't Delaforce because there she is right there. One of the 20-somethings on the jersey. Hold on the line out, we're waiting, and eventually it just reaches the target, although the bat down sent it back under halfway, but a short arm penalty for the Orchids, and to push the pace once more. Quick tap taken by Ackland, passes it off for Perry, is to move the ball forward, and she's throwing the pass from the knock-on advantage. Oh, heck, she's back on the field as she'll throw the dummy. She might look to get on the scoreboard herself as she is crunched in the covering tackle. An advantage on the knock-on. Who had that hit? That was uncompromising. So we'll see if we can catch it on the replay. Hake. One step by two as that was Danny Martins. The number 11, 16. She is certainly making her presence felt in that game. 10 minutes remaining now, and I don't think it is necessarily going out on a limb to suggest that this is going to be a rather comprehensive victory for the Queensland Country Orchids. Off to a fast start as a scrum reset now. Scrum is popping up, penalty advantage now for Queensland Suburban, and wasting no time with the quick tap is Martins. To is find a consolation try. Is that another advantage for offside? It is. Nicole Mock has also been introduced, as has Tessa Tunafor. So both teams have played a full complement of named players. We'll come back for the offside penalty for Queensland Suburban. Just reaches the sideline, just reaches the 10-metre mark. Tired bodies making their way over for this line out in both jerseys. Line out call is made. Fitzgibbon taking up station at the front. On off target and right into the arms of Perry. Ackland drives forward. Hake she'll go for a run, but could be called for holding on, and she did, wasting no time. Quick tap taken by number 8, Campbell, and she's able to gain a good 30 metres in a heavy collision. That one is played on. Queensland Suburban with one of their better attacking raids of the day. Duncan. And that one will eventually come out after the clear out is followed through. And the penalty is that was one back, illegally so by Perry. Again, quick tap taken by Campbell. She gets the offload off for Thompson. They get a try, they cannot. As the Orchids get a penalty deep in their own half. And they are looking to defend their goal line. The line out Once again, not quite going to plan. Jackson did get the ball, but the throw-in was not quite on target as we go to the replay. We're now just winding down the final 5 minutes and continue to work with this scrum. Short arm penalty going the way of the Orchids. Jackson about to take the tap, but instead defers for Ackland. And that will allow them to get it over to Dufil, who got up ahead of steam. Tackle made by Pengelly. This pass, everything's just bouncing the way of the Orchids as Spratt is able to evade that tackle and get the crossfield kick away. The bounce is awkward for Hawkins. He's able to pick that one up, but not cleanly. So it will be a knock-on in favour of the Orchids. Pushes on, but goes to the backs for the Orchids. A kick in behind is gathered by Milful. She might go for a run as it's played on. Martin's to her right. Pengelly brought down and could be under a bit of pressure here from Jackson as the Orchids look like they've got the turnover. Can they close this one out with another try? They're going for the line. It's Hannigan. Gets a pass away and it's spilled. Meg Jenkins. Oh, it was right there for her. Great work at the breakdown by Jackson, the 20-year-old. She's been a standout this morning. And the pass was held, and you just wonder, Meg Jenkins just take her eye off the ball as she was going for the line. The older sister of Hannah, who was in the number 10 for the Orchids today. Long weekend of rugby at Ballymore. Got the Australian Rugby Shield across the men's and the women's division. Pretty much all day today is Suburban. They're looking to finish this on a high note. Milful, she's trying to go around the entire Orchids defensive line, and it could work out to her detriment because there's plenty of pressure being put on. Advantage though for Queensland Suburban, and they're just getting driven further and further back. However, we'll come back for the original knock-on. Next pass is a little bit loose, and will go for a run once again. As that was a solid hit and cleanly picked up. Was that Hannigan again? Pass finding as Dufil as Orchids with the final attack of the game as Jenkins, as we've got the penalty. Now do they go for one last try? Well, Kayla Jackson certainly wants one. She's taken the tap. She's going for the line, and she'll bounce off one tackle, but brought down by the second. Another penalty advantage coming away for the Orchids. They'll hope they don't need it because they'll just want to finish this game with a try, and the options there out wide, and they have the numbers going for the corner. It's the fullback, Shannon Spratt. 4 tries in the first half for the Orchids, and now 4 tries in the second, as they round out this comprehensive win with their 8th of the day. And just for a second there, I did wonder if Meg Jenkins was going to go for it herself, but unselfishly giving it up to Shannon Spratt out of Bill Wheeler. And the game will now end on the final conversion attempt for Jackson. And now just wait for the final action. The 46-3 or 48-3. It all depends on Kyle Jackson, and that is also not a good sight in the in goal, with one of the Suburban players being helped back as that conversion is on the way. I think it was just underneath the crossbar, but that will wrap up a resounding win for the Queensland Country Orchids. Final score for the final time: Queensland Country Orchids 46, Queensland Suburban 3. I'm James Coghlan. Thank you very much for your company. Stay tuned, because kicking off at midday, we've got more action from the Australian Rugby Shield. Beth Newman will be bringing you all the action. Thanks for your company. Have a good afternoon.
Up next at 12 o'clock, continuing in the women's competition, New South Wales Country take on ACT in Southern New South Wales. Those of you that want to commemorate your time here at Ballymore watching the Australian Rugby Shield, there is a merchandise stall at the top of the grandstand, so make sure you get along there. Polos and bucket hats are available to commemorate the 2023 Australian Rugby Shield. Just a general announcement: if Mr. Max Pearson is anywhere in the grandstand, I have your inhaler down here at halfway. That's for Max Pearson.